Hi YouTube, it's AC Dodd here again, and I just thought I would do a video on the new needle that's been produced by Berlin Fuel Systems, SU carburetors, and we have now got what I set out to do a couple of months back when I did the last video, which was entitled It's Time for Change. We've got our new AFA needle. Okay, so what that basically means is SU have very kindly agreed to produce a needle, and I have to thank SU for that. I also have to thank Mini Spares for helping me fund this by also purchasing these needles as well, so I could get the minimum order up. So props to Mini Spares for doing that, so that's fantastic. These needles are now available from Berlin Fuel Systems. They are imminently going to be available from Mini Spares as well, so use either of those suppliers to get these. But the reason for doing this video is I wanted to explain to you what I've done, what the new profile is, because you will also find at the moment there is no reference to the new profile. So this is the video that will show you what that new profile is, and also we'll go into a little bit about the differences between say a typical stage 1 kit 998 mini needle and this new profile, which is obviously I've designed to be a replacement for that and to make a better stab at an off-the-shelf needle. All right, so without further ado, let's get stuck in and see where we go. So back over to the whiteboard. We haven't seen this for a while. So what we've got on the whiteboard is effectively the needle stations on the left hand side, and the needle stations are basically as laid out in the SU needle charts. Okay, so those numbers there represent those numbers there, and what we're basically looking at now is the diameter of the needle. Okay, and this is the new AFA needle, so these are the new diameters, and this is the first time this has been published. So get that information here, and what I've got up on the board here are the two needle profiles and the typical AAU needle that people would fit in their stage 1 kitted minis. So as we can see, at each station that's the design diameter, and obviously at each station here is the new diameter. Now what you can see over on the right hand side is the percentage of jet area change. Okay, so this tells you how much more jet surface area is presented to the airstream at each stage. So just to make this even more complicated, you will notice straight away that at the beginning we got some negative numbers as well as positive numbers, and I'll explain what they mean, because this is where it gets, some of you might find this a bit more of a challenge to get your head around, because all these stations aren't what you think they are unless you understand how they work. So effectively station 2 is typically around, and not exactly, but around where idle is. Now if you've got a smaller diameter needle, what that basically means is you have to have the jet wound further up to get the same mixture reading, okay, at idle. So why is my new needle leaner? So it's a bigger diameter, and what that means is it blocks the hole up more. Well, there's a good reason for it. Okay, so as it says there, that's a 9.74% reduction in jet area around the idle position. It's not exactly the idle position, but it's good enough for this example. So what that basically means is if I was to make a needle and sell it to somebody and put it in a worn carburetor, it may be, the carburetor may be worn, and turning the jet up to lean the mixture out, you may not have enough range of movement in the jet because the jet's worn. So what I'm doing here is building in a little bit of wear compensation. So if the hole's a little bit bigger on the jet, we're providing a needle that's ever so slightly bigger. Okay, that's only 5/10 of a thou. All right, so that's 1/2 thousandth of an inch bigger, which will give us a 9.75% reduction in area. So we have to wind you know, we don't have to wind the mixture nut up so far to actually attain that idle fueling. And that's going to become more apparent as we go on. Anyway, as we move on, you will also see that the next station is slightly leaner than the previous one by 1/10 of a thou. As we can see, 1/10 of a thou actually makes 1.3% difference. That's quite a big change. But the point I'm trying to get across here is that that there doesn't mean it's leaner, okay? Actually, it's the rate of change between the two stations which determines how rich it is. So if you take 8.5 to 8.28, that is effectively 2.2 thousandths of an inch change. That there, okay, is more like 2.6 or something like that. So that's actually a bigger change in diameter between those two stations. So that actually goes from a, given the same mixture reading at idle, that will actually richen the mixture at station 3. So that figure is actually richer than this figure on this needle, okay? So just to try and explain that, that's where I'm coming from. Now, further down the needle, it becomes easier to understand, and you will see we've got quite massive differences, okay? So station 4 and 5, for example, some of the biggest changes on that needle are there, all right? And that's, we've got, you know, 15% of 5, that's a huge change in surface area. And not only that, because we are running leaner, or we're running a much smaller surface area here, we've wound the jet down slightly potentially. So actually that 15.28 between the two needles is actually greater than that. All right, so that's actually, there's actually more fuel surface area than that figure would indicate. My point I'm trying to say here is I'm not trying to get down to the exact differences in the fueling. I'm trying to give you an idea of the differences and how this needle will work. All right, so we've got 15.28% increase in surface area, jet surface area presented to the same airstream or similar airstream at 0.5. Now, as you can see all the way down, we've got, it's richer all the way, all right? And then slows down and then gets much richer towards the end, okay? And that's because typically we need a lot more fuel, especially with a drilled airbox, and that's what it's all about. Now, the one thing to remember about this is it's not one size fits all, okay? So what this is just another needle that you can actually purchase and actually use to be able to calibrate your Mini. So even though I've designed it for a stage 1 Mini, as I mentioned in my previous video, which is I want you to go back and watch really, and you should do that before you watch this one, is so you understand the normal, or the normal distribution of fueling over a number of cars that I've done, to actually give a reasonable stab at getting a needle that's somewhere in the middle. You will never get a needle spot on for every car, because that's impossible due to the number of different factors at play, different tolerances, different wear in the engine, etc, etc. My point is, this is a needle that will give you a difference. Now what I'm now going to do is show you the same chart, but this time we'll compare the AFA needle with the more ubiquitous treble A needle, which people always fit, or a lot of people mistakenly fit, which is much too rich, and we'll compare the differences between those. So after looking at that comparison between the AAU and the new AFA needle, you can obviously see where we have an issue with the AAU needle. And you know, I'm not quite sure why that needle has always been used as a stage 1 needle, but it has. And there's a few others that are close to that, like the ABD, ever so slightly richer, but not rich enough. So we can see that there is definitely a need for a change, which is why I've come up with the AFA profile. Now, the other thing to understand is you can't just go fitting needles, okay, without resetting things. So what we're going to do after the next section is we're going to talk about baselining. But instead of going there right now, what we're now going to do is we're going to look at the treble A needle versus the new AFA, because as people will well know, if you've been following my videos for any time, I'm usually taking the treble A's out because they're too rich. So let's see why that is. So back over to the board again. I just wanted to go over something that I missed. I missed it off the camera just in the first part. So when I talked about the needle stations and where they are, if you actually look in the SU needle charts, you'll see where those needle stations are. So we look at the 90 jet needle and we can see those numbers are along there. They correspond to the numbers that are down the side. All right. So what we're now looking at is, any of you that have seen my videos, you will notice that I always go on about the treble A needle being much too rich. Okay, so there are the treble A needle dimensions, and there is the new AFA. And what I've done is I've shown the same percentage jet area change, so you could actually see the relative differences between a needle that is generally always too rich versus the one that I've come up with. All right. So again, we have the same interesting scenario at the top. So the first two stations are the same. So the treble A and the previous needle, which was the AAU, both have the same dimensions at the top. And we have this interesting phenomenon here where this is still the same 9.75. So basically what we mean when we put this needle in, as typically that is, as I say, roughly around the idle area. On this particular one, we would have to wind the jet up to lean it slightly, all right? And that would therefore make the comparison not quite as it seems, okay? For the reasons we mentioned on the previous needle, it's about the relative start point and the rate of change between the two, all right? So if we look at station 3, this is where your bore wash issue starts to come in with too much fuel, okay? Because the change between your idle point here and here is 3.6 thou. On our new needle, it's actually only 2.6 thou. So that's way less, and we can see that in that minus figure there. You will see for most of this needle that we are minus figures, and there's a good reason for that, and that is because this one is too rich. Now, where that says minus 16.72, in reality, that's not quite as lean as that, purely because of this issue that we mentioned before. But for the purposes of illustration, you can see the relative differences. So as we go up through the rev range on the needle, you will see that we are leaner in most places, all right? And that's because this needle pulls fuel out so we don't overfuel. The biggest problem with the treble A needle is it just puts way too much fuel in. So you're typically around sort of 0.8 to 0.85 across the part throttle rev range. So we are pulling fuel out across the rev range, obviously, to make that happen. You'll also notice there's another big area here where we're up in the progression area, and we are again pulling some fuel out. As we go down, and it's only at the very top end of the needle, and again I've stopped at 12 because there's no point going past that, because you know, we're not anywhere near that when we're at full open. So you will see it was only at the very top end of the rev range that the actual needle becomes ever so slightly richer than the treble A. But that is because it takes much more needle diameter reduction to get the same percentage change, whereas up here, very small amount makes a very large difference. As you can see, when we go back to these two positions, we're 1.5 thou difference, which is why we've got that massive jet area change, and that is the real reason why the treble A is generally way too rich for a standard or a stage 1 kitted 998 Mini. So moving on, baselining. What's that all about? Well, baselining is needed because every time you take the needle out of an SU and put it back in, even the same one, it doesn't always go back in the same position, and it will affect the base idle mixture. Okay, so we've already seen from the board examples there that there are differences in the relative diameters between needles. There's also differences between every needle in terms of tolerances. Okay, so just by taking a needle out and putting another needle in, it is highly unlikely that the base mixture setting will be the same. All right, So the only way that we can do that is to do what they call the baselining procedure, which is to reset the idle mixture. And it's really important to do that because obviously if we're changing a needle for a richer one that's got richer part throttle running, for example, then if we're already rich at idle, for example, we're even richer as we go on to part throttle, and that's a bad thing. So this is why it's very important that when you come around to actually swapping needles and you want to fit your new AFA needle, for example, you need to make sure that your base idle setting is correct. So let me give you an example, and then I'm also going to recommend a video. So let's get into it. So what you're looking at here is a typical baseline diagram that you see in SU workshop manual or other manuals, and effectively what you are seeing is on the left hand side you've got the RPM, and on the bottom you've got leaner or richer. The idea is you turn the mixture screw until you find the leanest point, which you get a smooth idle, and that is where the red intersection crosses the graph. You'll also notice that I've modified this graph from a typical SU one, because the reality is once you go past the point where the red intersection is, you will find the RPM will still rise a little more. And if you carry on going to that point and find the highest RPM where you get smooth and the highest running, you will find it's too rich. So in order to try and bring that to life, about a month or so ago I asked Darren Haynes over in the United States to do a video of how to do the baselining. So he's done that video. There is absolutely no point in me doing that video because he's done an excellent job. Because the problem with baselining is it's actually very easy if you've got a means of measuring the air-fuel ratio, like with a wideband gauge, or you've got a gas analyzer that you can put up the exhaust, but it's very difficult to do it if you haven't got that, which is what that diagram was just all about. But in this video, Darren actually shows you how to do it without any of that equipment, with just an RPM gauge, and also, for those that have got one, a vacuum gauge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video here, but I am actually going to put the links in at the end so that you can actually watch those videos. So I'll put the one to my previous video at the end, and I'll also put the links to Darren's video. You need to watch both of them to be able to do this, because if you don't watch them, and I urge you to watch them all the way through, because there's lots of information. Stop skipping all this business when you go through, because I know most people don't watch videos all the way through. They just buzz all the way through. It's very important on that baselining video, for example, and my video prior to this one, for you to actually watch them properly. Okay, so I urge you to do that, because it's very important that you get your mixture right. Now the reality is if you can take your car to a garage and use a gas analyzer, fantastic. So that's what I urge you to do. If you've got a wideband gauge and it works properly at idle, then obviously you're away and it's nice and easy. Anyway, with all that being said, as ever, please like, subscribe and share these videos. Please tell everybody about the new AFA needle, and hopefully you find it very useful and it will make your car perform a lot better. I'll see you on the next one.